The night has deepened, and I find myself, as usual, nestled in bed, engrossed in the endless scroll of TikTok well past my bedtime. It's a habit I'm aware isn't the best, but then again, you're here on Reddit, aren't you? With a casual flick, I dismiss the last video, a feline sporting a melon helmet, and a live feed replaces it. The scene is dimly lit, with torches or headlamps casting an intermittent strobe effect in an aged, dilapidated building. Ghost hunters, perhaps. Not really my cup of tea. I prepare to scroll past, but something in the periphery of the frame halts me. The camera sweeps past a monochrome photograph, framed and hung on the wall. It's my grandparents on their wedding day. I freeze, my gaze locked on the screen as the camera continues its journey. That photo is etched in my memory, having spent countless hours studying it during my childhood visits to their farmhouse. It was always my favorite among all the pictures adorning their walls. Could this TikTok user really be in my grandparents' old farm? It's plausible, considering the property had been left to decay after their demise. I note their handle, Abandoned Explorer 305. I plan to explore their page later, but for now, I can't tear my eyes away from this feed, fearing it might vanish. The camera ventures deeper into the living room. A once plush leather armchair now bears the scars of time, its cushions sagging, its fabric torn and tattered. The fireplace, with its raw stone and grand oak mantel, once the room's centerpiece, now stands warped and fractured. The horseshoes that used to hang from it, once shiny and vibrant, now lay dull and forgotten on the hearth. They were always a prominent feature above the fireplace, their polished surfaces dancing in the evening firelight. The person behind the camera begins to speak, a detail I'd barely registered, lost as I was in a whirlwind of nostalgia and indignation at this intrusion. "There's an abundance of horseshoes here," he observes. "They're above doorways. One's embedded in the kitchen floor, and these ones seem to have hung over the fireplace. I understand this is a farm, and they likely had horses, but the horseshoes are just omnipresent. Most people know horseshoes are considered lucky, but unless you're well versed in folklore, you might not know they're also believed to ward off evil spirits." I can't help but roll my eyes, such common knowledge. Yet another TikTok user posing as a paranormal expert. His comment, however, does send a shiver down my spine. The farm did have an unusual number of horseshoes. I file this observation away for later. They did have horses years ago, but modern farming methods rendered them unnecessary, and neither Granny nor Grandpa were particularly fond of horses. Granny, however, was somewhat superstitious. Horseshoes, lucky heather, four-leaf clovers, and the like. I have fond memories of my stays at Granny and Grandpa's as a child, except for one thing: the solitary trips to the bathroom. The only bathroom was upstairs, at the farthest end of the house from the kitchen or living room. To a child, it felt like a daunting expedition. The journey up wasn't too bad. Once the living room door closed behind you, you'd find yourself in a serene, cool corridor, the sounds of life muffled by the thick wooden door. The silence was so profound, you could hear a pin drop. You'd walk along, then turn back 180 degrees to ascend the stairs. The upstairs landing was split into 2 levels, so you'd step down onto the lower landing, then turn right to reach the bathroom. The issue was not ascending the stairs, but descending. From the time I was able to navigate the bathroom alone, a chilling sensation would grip me once I reached the top of the staircase. It was as if an icy hand had touched the base of my spine, urging me to flee. I would sprint down the stairs, back to the safety of the kitchen, propelled by my tiny legs. It was crucial that I never glanced back at the landing. I was certain that something terrible would occur if I did. As a child, I couldn't articulate these feelings, but in retrospect, it felt like a dark entity was emerging from the walls of the landing, ready to take form at the sight of a scared child looking back. Upon opening the wooden door, it was as if life and color returned to the world. The familiar sounds and warmth of a bustling family home would envelop me, like resuming a paused movie. In the live camera feed, they approached the sturdy oak door, hanging precariously on one hinge and slightly open. Before the cameraman verbalizes it, I notice a large cast iron horseshoe suitable for a Shire horse or a Clydesdale affixed above the door. I don't recall it being there, but its presence feels significant, like a charm used in a desperate attempt to ward off something. I clutch my phone tighter, my hand damp with sweat, convinced they should not venture further into the house. I glance at the comments appearing on the screen. They're filled with unease and fear. Did anyone else just see a shadow? I begin to type a warning, urging them not to enter, to leave immediately. But would they heed my warning amidst the sea of voices? As I'm typing, I see the man push the door open. Just as I'm about to hit send, I hear his gasp. "What the?" he whispers. My phone slips from my hand onto the bed in shock. In the hallway stand two emaciated figures in nightgowns, their faces stretched into unnaturally wide smiles. Their eyes are nothing but dark voids, like portals to the abyss. Even more disturbing, Granny and Grandpa are holding hands. Despite their monstrous appearance, it's unmistakably them. I feel like I'm staring into their distorted faces for an eternity. Chaos ensues on camera. Abandoned explorer 305 spins around and flees. The camera jerks wildly as he makes a run for it, but I'm certain I see their smiles contort into a horrifying snarl. I'm glued to my phone screen, listening to the heavy breathing of the TikTok guy and watching the erratic movements of the torch as he tries to escape. He's near the back door, provided he doesn't take a wrong turn. A few more steps and he'll be free. Then a deafening screech blares from the phone speakers, causing me to jump. Live has ended. The feed abruptly cuts off. I tap the screen in vain. Nothing. Did he escape? I search for his username on the app, but find no results. I sit in stunned silence, my heart pounding. I should have warned them sooner as soon as I realized they were in that house. Maybe that would have deterred them. A notification appears on my phone. A direct message on TikTok. Oddly, there's no account name attached to the message. Come to us. The message is clear and unambiguous. With a sigh, I reach for the notebook on my nightstand, ready to mark off another failed attempt. The concept of communicating with the deceased via the internet is a recent development. Despite our efforts digging deeper graves, placing stones in their mouths using black salt, holy water from lords, even driving a stake through their hearts, nothing seems to keep these two restless spirits at rest for long. We're unsure if it's the land itself, a family curse, or something else entirely. I wonder if they saw that terrifying black entity from my childhood. Was that the cause or merely a symptom? I glance at the list of yet-to-try methods. Decapitation is next. The thought doesn't sit well with me. I quickly send a text to my brother. Mill's in trouble. That's our code. It means grab your shovel. We need to exhume our grandparents again in hopes of finally letting them rest in peace. The issue is, each failed attempt seems to change them more. The last time they emerged from their grave, they looked like themselves, only deceased. It was distressing but expected. The horrifying figures I witnessed tonight were far from that. I fear we might be empowering them, feeding them in some way. But we can't just let them wander freely, especially when innocent bystanders are at risk. I believe it's time to seek external assistance.